With so many newer nurses leaving the nursing profession, is it finally time to move on from nursing? Well, in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 reasons why many nurses are leaving the nursing profession, so stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, LifeofaPsychNP. If you are new to this channel, let me formally introduce myself. I'm Darty. I'm a board-certified psychiatric nurse practitioner, and in this channel, I go over several different subjects to educate the public about mental health, ways to improve your lifestyle, topics related to nursing, nurse practitioners, and specifically psychiatric nurse practitioners like myself. So if you are interested in any of these topics, feel free to subscribe. Make sure you like this video because it helps me out so much, and it keeps me motivated and wanting to make more videos for you guys. So make sure you like it, and if you haven't followed me already, follow me on Instagram at LifeofaPsychNP. So you probably clicked this video because you're interested in finding out why so many newer nurses are leaving the nursing profession. And like I said, I've met so many different nurses that are actually leaving, and I wanted to ask them why they're leaving, and I wanted to figure out what the main reasons are for why they're leaving, and I wanted to shed light on these subjects because at the end of the day, I don't want you to go into a situation and feel like you weren't told. And I wanted to do your due diligence in order for you to find out that these are specific reasons that some nurses come across and why they may be leaving nursing. So I wanted to make sure that you watch this video if you're thinking about going into the nursing profession, because these are all valid reasons. A lot of these reasons I experienced but ended up pushing through it, but sometimes many of these newer nurses unfortunately dealt with certain other things and they didn't feel like it was worth it at the end of the day. So without further ado, let's go over the 5 reasons why many newer nurses are leaving the nursing profession and things that you should expect. So let's go. So the very first reason why many newer nurses are leaving the nursing career is because of the environment. So when you look at the environment of nursing 20 years ago compared to now, it's drastically changed. There's so many differences. The level of acuity for patients have gone up so much higher compared to before. I'm not saying what they did back then were easy, but all I'm saying is the way things have changed, especially when it comes to diet, lifestyle, and people are living a lot longer. The environment of nursing and what we have to do has changed. So a lot of the times when you go to nursing school or when you're fed this dream of becoming a nurse, you're sold upon a certain environment that they once lived in. But now that more and more things have changed and more things are added to our plate, the dynamics of nursing has changed tremendously, and people didn't necessarily expect that. And the newer nurses are starting to feel like this isn't worth my time and effort. I'd rather just leave nursing now because of the environment. So you always have to think about that. So the second reason why many newer nurses are leaving the nursing profession is because of work-related injuries. When you think about nursing, you think about being part of a team. You think about using your medical nursing knowledge to be able to help the patient get better, and you have to do critical thinking skills, which is all great and which is what we do on a daily basis. But not a lot of the times you're not necessarily taught that you have to do way more. You have to be pushing people, you have to be pulling things, you have to be lifting things up, you have to be using your body and the body mechanics associated with that. And with more and more patients gaining different comorbidities and gaining weight because of different lifestyle and diet habits, we have to do so much more, and that kind of leads into more work-related injuries. And a lot of the times you think that you're not going to be doing all of these things and that you have MAs, LVNs to be able to assist you, but at the end of the day, a lot of the units, you have to do things yourself. And when they start to realize these things and they start to realize that a lot of the injuries are starting to become more and more apparent, they're just going to be fed up and want to leave nursing altogether. And truthfully, you're sold a certain dream and you're not necessarily told about all of these work-related tasks that you have to do that can potentially lead to work-related injuries. So that's definitely something you have to consider, especially if you want to become a nurse. So the third reason why so many newer nurses are leaving the nursing profession is because of the increased workload. So you have to think about the population as a whole. As we're growing in population, And as we're starting to live a little bit longer, more and more people are starting to end up in the hospital that are older or maybe even larger compared to what it was like before. So all of the things that as newer nurses, you have to deal with the large amounts of patients and the large amount of comorbidities and the tasks that you have to do. And not to mention less and fewer resources compared to before. So now that we're starting to do more work for the patient and getting more responsibilities, we're starting to have to do way more than we actually thought we would. And a lot of these newer nurses, unfortunately, aren't up to this job. And a lot of them are like, it's not even worth the pay anymore. Might as well go to another career. And this is definitely something that you can avoid if you do your further research about. But at the same time, you have to understand the workload is going to be there. It's not like a walk in the park where you get to just gossip and just talk to your friends. Yes, you may have those instances, but for the most part, you have to do so much more work now with far less resources compared to any other specialty. So you have to think about the workload as a nurse and how many nurses are starting to realize that this can be the reason why it might not be worth it to become a nurse in the first place, and why many newer nurses are actually leaving the field of nursing. So definitely think about that. So the fourth reason why so many newer nurses are leaving the nursing profession is the work culture. So you have to think about the culture of nursing. And unfortunately, there's still the saying that nurses eat their young, and it's still happening to this day. And unfortunately, that's something that many nurses are going to deal with. And sometimes, depending on their mentality of it all, they may not even think it's worth it. They may not even want to be in that nursing culture, and they just want to end up leaving because they don't feel like getting bullied every single day from these from these older nurses. And that's something you have to expect. Unfortunately, that's still the culture to this day. Yes, you're going to meet some very, very awesome nurses, and I've had the chance of meeting very, very awesome nurses, but at the same time, I've had a chance of where I met nurses that were just plain out bullies, and they just want to make life miserable for you. And that's something you have to think about, especially if you're wanting to go into the nursing career. You may be bullied, and you may feel like people are eating you alive and you don't even want to be there. So you have to think about that. And there's sometimes nurses are not even willing to go through this and end up leaving the field. So definitely think about that. So the fifth and final reason why so many newer nurses are leaving the nursing profession is because of emotional stress. So you have to think about all the emotional stress that you have to deal with as nurses. And sometimes you may not even be mentally prepared to what you might experience as a nurse. Like I said, you're sold this dream of how wonderful nursing is, how the career is amazing, how you're gonna be making a bunch of money, how you're gonna be in a stable career, how it's the #1 most loved career compared to all the other careers out there. But you have to think about the emotional stress that it comes with taking care of patients day in and day out. And even when it comes to the pandemic, you never thought that you were gonna have to be taking care of these type of patients when you're on a specific unit. You may not even understand the whole dynamic that is involved within this medical healthcare system, and you may have to deal with so much stress when it comes to dealing and taking care of patients. And the times that people are just shouting at us, people are yelling at us, people are just getting extremely irate towards us, and you have to deal with this on a daily basis. Then you're going to couple that with nurses bullying you, and imagine how stressful it can be just by being at work. And sometimes nurses don't feel like it's even worth it, and so that's something you have to think about, especially if you're coming into the nursing field and you want to be a nurse. You have to expect that this can be a stressful role, and you have to kind of deal with certain stressors and find certain things that's going to help you get to the next level and not being as stressed. And you have to think about that, especially as future nurses. And unfortunately, so many different nurses find out the hard way. They go through all of this stress and end up leaving nursing because they don't end up wanting to do it and they don't think it's worth it at the very end. So it's definitely something you have to think about. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and this video is not to be negative, and honestly, and it's everyone's choice in what they want to do as a career, but I figured I'd want to shed light on why many nurses are leaving. And if you're thinking about becoming a nurse, you make sure you want to watch this video over again and see some of the reasons why sometimes people want to leave nursing. And I just want the future nurses to kind of be prepared that these things may happen. It's not going to happen to everybody, but these things may happen, and I want you to make sure that nursing is for you. And unfortunately, sometimes people learn the hard way. Even after all the stress, all the money, sometimes all of these things aren't even worth it to stay in the career, and they choose another field. And I'm not saying that you are guaranteed for this to happen to you. I just want you to expect that this can possibly happen, and I want you to go into this career knowing that these are things that you may experience, and I want you to thoroughly enjoy nursing. And I absolutely love nursing, and it's the best career choice I've ever made. I've been in so many different careers: sales, healthcare administration, I've been in business side of things, but healthcare and being a nurse has been the best choice for me. So it's definitely something that you should always take into consideration, because nursing is great, but there's certain cons that are associated with nursing. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I was able to teach you something, and I hope you continue your career as a nurse. As always guys, have a wonderful day. Bye!